At it again, and we've got one here with Michael Knowles. It's been a while since we checked out some Michael Knowles. Shout out to Michael Knowles. But yeah, we've got a little bit of a compilation going on here today. So yeah, this is going to be hilarious. I'm sure it's going to be puzzling. Probably going to go through a whole range of emotions checking this one out. But before we get into it, hit that like button, okay? I know it's a small gesture, but it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Hit that like button so we can get these videos out to more and more people. And if you would like to help me, further help me get these videos out to more people, share the videos, all right? It's the arrow button down below. You can copy the link. You can send it via text message. You can send it through the DM. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can post it on your website. All right. It's the arrow button down below, and hit that subscribe button as well. All right. And hit that bell next to it so you're notified when these videos drop. And let's dive in.
There are people in the back of the room who have put tape over their mouths as though they've been censored, as though they're not able to speak. So I'd just like to take the opportunity. Nobody is stopping you from speaking. We're actually inviting you to speak. If anybody would like to come up and ask a question, now's your opportunity. You can cut the entire line. I think we got my answer. Okay.
I'm faculty here. I also support a protester in the back.
What do you support specifically? Do you think that anti-immigrant rhetoric...
I'm pretty sure we checked out this clip before.
...is violent free speech?
Yes, because of the reasons
you think that speech is violence?
No, I think that...
That's what that sign says.
The conversation that you're having is oppressive.
And so I am oppressing people by what I'm doing. So I am exerting violence on people by my speech. That's what the sign says, and that's what you just said.
It contributes to...
And the protester is saying that's exactly what I'm doing, and she's saying that's exactly what her sign means. So that means that you, a faculty member at an American public university, paid for by taxpayer dollars, are conflating speech with violence.
Yes. Speech can be violent. What you are saying contributes to systemic racism in the...
These people have absolutely lost their minds. Speech is not violence. It isn't. It isn't. If that's the case, then I'm offended by her telling me what I can and can't say. I feel like that is violence towards me. I'm offended too. So now what? Guess we're at a standoff here. Two can play this game, all right? It's a two-way street, baby. You want to play it? I'm going to play it right along with you, okay?
This country, it means that my students of color are pulled over and accused of stealing a car when they did not.
I'm not pulling anybody over for stealing any cars.
I
see many people of many different races in this room. They all seem to be doing just fine. I don't think any of them have felt violence because they listened to a lecture on basic facts about our immigration system.
Are you there to ask us if we felt violence, or are you just assuming that we haven't?
The question was, have I...
If you felt violence, you would have exited the room. If I sense violence is going on, then I'm not going to be there. In the traditional sense of violence, obviously, you know, if there's a fight breaking out or something going on, like, I'm not just going to stand there or sit there like they're doing. I'm exiting the premises. So clearly it's not violence. They just want to silence folks, and that's just another tactic to do that.
I asked people in this room if they've felt as though some violence has been committed on them. No, I haven't asked, because no violence has been committed on you. Because violence is not a subjective feeling. Violence is an objective fact. And I would say to you, as a faculty member at a taxpayer-funded university, this is the foundation of liberal education. If you cannot understand that there is a difference between speech and violence, you don't understand anything that undergirds the liberal arts or liberal education. And that is a real shame. And I say this with all respect and with great distress for our universities. If our teachers don't understand the difference between ideas and violence, between speech and violence, then they are in no position to educate the next generation of Americans.
Just say it. She needs to be fired. Yesterday.
I was asked to give a speech in defense of George Washington at George Washington University. George Washington, one of the greatest men who ever lived, and specifically in this case, George the Colonial, who is the mascot of GW, as well as all of those colonials who gave this world and gave all of us this great nation. I think ignorance plays a major role here in the effort to get rid of GW's colonial mascot and moniker, George himself. The activists make a number of mistakes, not merely in their logic, but even in their grasp of basic facts. The first of which is to whom the word colonials refers. The colonials that the mascot represents were not defenders of colonialism. In fact, they were the opposite of defenders of colonialism. They fought a bloody war, they risked their lives to end colonialism in America and to end rule in Great Britain. They wanted their political independence.
You f***ing fascist! Shame! 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 Shame!
Oh, these kids are really proving me wrong.
I don't have anything nice to say. Let's just play the video. I'm just not gonna say anything.
Wrong. You see, because my premise was that these students are ignorant and not well behaved. But they're proving me wrong tonight. They called me a fascist for defending George Washington. Behold your country, leftists.
I'm for more of a mixed economy, and I am for Medicare for all. I believe.
Doesn't that seems awful? It seems like you want to become an old person. Why do you want to become an old person?
No,
why do you want to use old ideas like socialism?
No, that's giving everyone the right to health care, health insurance. And right now, our current system, we have 600,000 bankruptcies. People file for bankruptcy under our current system. Our current system is not cost effective. It cost,
I agree.
$33 trillion over a 10-year period from right now. And a recent study by the Mercatus Center actually found that the Medicare for All system in the Senate would save $2.1 trillion over a 10-year period from 2022 to 2031. So why can't you get behind that?
Well, when we were talking about the costs of these systems, one has to be very careful. I was promised certain costs for Obamacare, and there was a lot of fuzzy math because the taxes kicked in early and the benefits didn't kick in quite so early. So the question is twofold. One, you're asking economically, you're saying that the current healthcare regime is not efficient, and therefore the socialist regime would be more efficient. That may actually be the case. That's not an argument for socialism, though. That's an argument for liberalization. That's for liberalizing the markets, making prices much more apparent to both the consumers and the service providers, to opening up what are now virtual monopolies for health insurance companies. And fortunately, by the way, this administration, it has around the edges worked on all of those things. There is also a moral argument as well, which is that people ought to be free, man ought to be free, and if healthcare is going to have to be rationed, I would rather it be rationed by me and my freedom of choice than by some bureaucratic board somewhere in the federal government. If the United States stops leading the way in healthcare, you're going to see that affect global markets and global healthcare regimes all around the world, and it'll be a very bad thing. And that is the reason that people, when they actually want care, living in Cuba, living in Canada, living in the United States, when even their private insurance that they're forced to buy doesn't cover, that's why they come to the United States, because we're the leaders.
We already ration care by the size of our wallets.
We ought to ration care by the size of our wallets?
We already ration our care by the size of our wallets.
Of course we don't. We have a robust social safety net. We have Medicare and Medicaid. We have a very generous social safety net, and nobody dies. I mean, it's one of the most absurd lies of people pushing socialist healthcare that people are dying in the streets. That's absurd. Anybody can walk into an emergency room. Nobody is dying in the streets in the United States and hasn't in the modern era.
Tens of thousands of people are dying in the U.S.
You can keep repeating your lie, but it doesn't make it true. Show me the person who is denied entrance to an emergency roam, my friend. Show me the person. I haven't seen them.
Hey, I'm for facts over feelings.
What? He actually tried to pull that off. While giving no evidence. Show me the guy or the girl that's getting denied in the emergency room and, just dropping and being put in a pine box right outside of the hospital. Show me. Like you said, show me. I've yet to see it. Yet to see it.
You can repeat good slogans as well as bad slogans, but they remain slogans nonetheless. And I'm explaining to you the way the healthcare regime actually works. This creates ever-multiplying victim groups, false victim groups like these people. This creates ever-multiplying racial victims. I know, you're so oppressed, my dears. I know, life is so hard for you. You have to live in the richest, most equitable, most just country in the history of the world. You have to get a college education. You have to voluntarily go to lectures. It's so awful. I can't imagine. The people who are in war-torn nations, they must truly pity you. Goodbye then. I gotta tell you folks, I knew that this totally common sense statement was controversial. I didn't know it was this controversial. You're trying to teach me with your fists. Thank you. That's the same lesson that Mussolini was teaching people. You ridiculous fascists. You ridiculous, silly fascists. Goodness gracious. How am I ever going to get the glitter paint out of my clothing? Maybe it looks good, I don't know. How is this guy still in this lecture hall? How is this guy still in this university? It is outrageous. By the way, if these people are not expelled from this university, that is a scandal for the University of Missouri. It would be an absolute outrage if these people are not expelled from this university for acts of violence to protest the most common sense statement that
Unfortunately, I highly doubt that they were expelled from campus or school or kicked off of campus, because there's a double standard. If you're a leftist, you can get away with a whole lot more than somebody on the right can. And I think part of that is due to the outrage, right? The left, they will all come out completely outraged, and most people on the right are like, yeah, it was stupid, but whatever. And I think us folks on the right need to change that mentality. We need to change that mentality. We should be just as outraged. Now, we don't have to be out, doing crazy stuff in the streets, but we need to let it be known that stuff like that is not acceptable. Say it loud, say it proud, make your voice heard. Okay? Now, we don't have to stoop to the level that they stoop to and tear things up and destroy things. And then also, another thing is, with your dollars, don't support these organizations. That's another great way. I mean, as much as they want to try to make it seem like, oh yeah, the dollars don't really matter. Oh yeah, it does matter. Oh yeah, it does. Sure it does. Best believe it does. So yeah, we gotta be a little more outraged, just like the left usually is when something doesn't go their way. What do y'all think? Do y'all think I'm right? I'm wrong? Let me know. But obviously, everything, once again, done peacefully. Okay? All right? So nobody can mix up my words. Sheesh Louise.
I could possibly make, which is that men are not women. Imagine if I said something controversial here tonight. Imagine the reaction then.
So my question is, I'm just not really sure what's the downside of converting our energy system towards more green energy, such as wind power and solar power. To me, the idea of moving in a more sustainable direction for our energy our production is just more about creating jobs that produces a lack of reliance on oil and things that are inherently non-renewable and foreign exports.
So if you got rid of just the oil industry, if you just got rid of the energy industry that the Green New Deal seeks to get rid of, you would immediately destroy 5.8 million jobs. Those are just jobs relating directly to that energy sector. Obviously, there are a zillion jobs downstream of that. And obviously, if you kill off 88% of American energy, you don't just kill off 5.8 million jobs, you kill off virtually all of the jobs. Why not convert to some hypothetical, clean, wonderful avatar energy source? Show me the energy source that could provide American energy. You talk about how we have reliance on foreign fuels. We found that biggest oil deposit ever in 2016. We're the biggest producer in the world. This is a wonderful thing. This is something that we should embrace. This idea of scarcity is a fiction. This idea that we're just depleting our resources and they'll all be gone in 15 years. The question you asked is, what is the downside of killing off 88% of the American economy? Outlawing, you asked it and I'm relating it to the Green New Deal. of outlawing gas-powered cars within 10 years, of outlawing jet fuel-powered jets within 10 years, of knocking down and rebuilding all the buildings within 10 years. What's the downside of spending $93 trillion, 80% marginal tax rates, killing American ingenuity? And then once you kill off all of the people who make all the jobs and who grow our economy, then you just start printing money, making the global reserve currency, I don't know, like the paper in Venezuela. What's the downside of that? What's the upside of that?
What's the upside? He's got a great point with that last statement. What's the upside? Plus, we don't even have the infrastructure for it. You saw California struggling to just keep the lights on. And I feel like even still in a place like California, most people don't have electric cars. So most people weren't even plugging in their cars. What's going to happen when everybody's plugging in their cars after a long day at work? Lights off. Completely dark. And good luck then, especially in a place like California. Because that's when the criminals come out. That's when them shadows start moving at night. No security cameras. No lights. No power. We'll see if you can stay safe. It'll literally be the purge every single night once that begins to happen. It ain't a thing you're going to be able to do about it in a place like California because you don't have a great equalizer. I bet they do, though. But hey, who am I? You know, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. You know, I'm just talking. I'm just talking, okay? But yeah, it definitely a joy to watch Michael Knowles trigger a bunch of leftists throughout this video. And I think, you know, people like Michael Knowles and Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, people like that, I love when they go to college campuses. I think they need to bring it down to even the high school level, at an even lower level. They need to go out and speak to some of these high schools and get out and talk to some of those folks before they get exposed to the horrible colleges that we have that are rampant across the U.S. Now, I know a lot of school districts aren't going to allow them to speak to the kids, but wherever they can, they should go. And the Republican Party should help them out with it secretively, of course. That's the key. You got to stay under the radar. You have to stay under the radar because once, and like I said this yesterday, once the left knows about your game plan, they'll throw it out there and demonize it. I mean, to no end. I was talking about this with, you know, a thing like campus reform just the other day. But yeah, what do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.